Hey guys, what is up? Sam or Scorpiola here, bringing you guys your guide on how to complete the Labours of Hercules Gauntlet for Ancient Evil as easy as possible. This one can get fairly hard with the more players, so would recommend, if you feel comfortable running like that, I'd recommend 1 to maybe 2 players or absolute maximum 3 for this gauntlet. 4 got very hectic and I would not advise playing like this. Starting off as usual with your class setup that I would recommend you run, I'd recommend everyone use the Scepter of Ra specialist weapon to be able to revive your teammates as usual, as well as the fast melee ability when you spam the 2 triggers. However, if you are playing solo, I would recommend that you run the chakrams just because they are a lot better quickly. Damage wise, they're just a lot more agile friendly and they're great for that last challenge on the round 30. I'd next recommend for equipment that you run the Wraithfire, as always, as I'm sure most of you do. For your starting weapon, I would recommend that you either start with the Strife or the Sog. You could go either way round, but I would recommend if you start with the Sog, then you're saving some points, because if not, you are going to have to buy a Sog on round 3. So it just tends to be easier to start with it if possible. If not, it is a wall buy available. In terms of your perk setup, I'd recommend you run Quick Revive and Dying Wish as normal, as well as Odin perk being your modifier, being Stamina up. In terms of your 4th perk, I would kind of advise Winter's Wail just because it can get you out of some sticky situations and can save your life very easily. Tortoise doesn't tend to be as helpful, but if you're not fond of Winter's Wail since its recent buff, then I would recommend Bandolier as a good alternative. In terms of elixirs, if you have any going spare, I would recommend running max ammos and nukes just because they are so important to this gauntlet and they can help you a lot. But if not, I'm sure you can kind of make work with your usual classic setups. For your other 2 slots, I'd recommend having a few people with insta-kills maybe if possible. Somebody with temporal, if you're running co-op, I'd say that tends to be a good kind of combination there. If not, then anywhere but here's a good shout to get you out of corners. And equipment is a good shout, and whoever will be picking up the Pegasus Strike should definitely be running equipment if possible. Overall, I'd say that's a solid class setup and will be able to get you through this nice and easily. Obviously, as you see, it's not the one I'm running in game, it's just the one me and my team came up with as the optimum one after our game. So without further ado, let's get into the strategy for these challenges. So going into our first set of challenges, we're going to be going over the strategy one by one, starting with round 1, which is quick kills. Melee kill all zombies within the time limit. Basically just kill all the zombies with the melee. You only have 5 seconds to do this, so you best make it quick. On to round 2, players are locked in place unless downed. So basically, within this round, you will not be able to move whatsoever. So make sure at the end of round 1 you're happy with your positioning and you and your team can take out all the zombies happily. Wraithfires and our SMG should make this nice and easy. On to round 3, you can only use unpacked SMGs. For this, you should have started with the SOG. If not, you can buy it off the wall near the shield by itself. Here, I would recommend that you actually take advantage of this round to, as early as possible, go and open up to the Sentinel artifact and complete that ritual. After that's done, you should start collecting shield parts and try to open as much of the map as possible, because you should be killing that Genganese and collecting the golden bridle on this round. Anything you're not sure of will be linked down below or have full guides on any Easter egg type things that are involved within this game. So actually, in terms of killing the Genganese, you're obviously just going to be using your Sogs. It's not going to be the easiest thing ever because you can't use your special weapon, but just pound bullets into him, he will eventually die. You should ideally be aiming to build the shield by the end of this round, because it will be required for the next round. On this next round, you are required to each get 5 kills with the Apollo's Will spear throw specifically. So each person will need to throw the spear at 5 different zombies and get 5 kills with it. Once you have your 5 kills, stop killing and make sure the rest of your team get it done. At the end of this round, I recommend saving one, and you and your team should spread out to try and find all of the hand locations so that you can in fact start getting the hand weapons within this round. Ideally, hopefully you should be able to find at least 1 or 2 hands within this area of the map, and once done, you should try to build and upgrade the Gaia and Hemera hands if possible. If you can only get 1 or none at all, then go ahead and proceed to go and take the Pegasus ride and go into the dark area of the map. It's ideal, if possible, that you do have both of those hands already done by the time you're going in. If not, don't worry, you're going to have plenty of rounds to be getting that done. On round 5, players will take damage if not standing in water. This is where I would actually recommend not ending the previous round before you head into the dark area, because if possible, you and your team can find that last hand and somebody can get the Charon hand completed on this round. This is because if you get that completed and built by the end of round 4, then you'll actually be able to do the upgrade quest a little bit easier on round 5, since you'll have to be standing in that River of Sorrow up the top by the perk in that area. Simply in that area, you'll just need to kill the zombies in the water, and that way you can kind of optimize it and get those kills done there. Round 6, you'll just simply have to be ending the round on the dark side of the map. That's very nice, easy and clear, so you'll just have to spend this round on that area. On this round, I would recommend you actually complete the Pack-a-Punch ritual to get that all opened up, and try and get those two hands, being Uranus and Charon, built in this area. By this point, ideally, you should have most or all of the hand weapons built and upgraded. Going on to round 7, you'll need to end the round with all your guns and equipment at full ammo. This can be achieved very easily by every player swapping out their god hand with a war weapon and leaving it at full ammo. This way, at the end of this round, all you have to do, in fact, is refill your ammo and then melee kill that last zombie. Make sure not to throw any equipment and just simply get 2 war weapons and make sure they're at full capacity when the round ends. An alternate way to do this would be with a max ammo. So every player can still keep their god hand, you can get down to one last zombie, and then someone can pop a max ammo, and then you'll just need to melee kill that last one. That is a good alternate way to do it. On round 8, enemies will do double damage. This can be a bit tricky because you're 2-shot, but just use your hand weapons and take advantage of them, because they are super OP and powerful and will make this round nice and easy for you. Towards the end of this round, I'd recommend you and your team head to the Temple of Apollo to camp, because on round 9, your movement speed is halved and sprinting and sliding are disabled. So the quickest way to get about is in fact jumping about the place, so it's much easier if you all just stand on the Temple of Apollo and kill everything that is around you. This also then helps because on round 10 you'll need to defend the Temple of Apollo, so all your teammates are nice, convenient in this location and can simply take advantage of this to get that round completed as well. By this point, hopefully you do have every one of the hands completed and upgraded, and every player will need to hold one. It's worth noting that you don't actually need to build all 4 if you don't have 4 players. Simply each player needs to be holding one by the end of the following round 11. I would recommend that if you're not running 4 players, then don't build Gaia, because it is a little bit of an inconvenience with one of the later steps. The best ones to be running, say if you're 1 player, then Uranus is probably your best bet, or Charon. And then 2 player, well, you obviously want those 2. 3 player, I'd add in Chimera, and only build Gaia if you are in fact 4 player. So congratulations, at this point you have got your bronze medal and you're 1/3 of the way towards that gauntlet completion. So going on to our next set of challenges, these shouldn't be bad at all actually. Debatably, these are an easier set of challenges than the previous, but I am going to be going through with you guys how to do them one by one. Round 11 is to possess a redeemed hand weapon. So this is basically every player needs to be holding an upgraded one of those hands. Very easy to do because obviously, as I've talked you through, we've been working on them as we go along, so as long as you've been following my instructions, you are good for this round and you can just proceed as normal through it. On to round 12, you're going to make sure you need to have some points saved, because it is to buy something every 20 seconds. Now the easiest way to do this is for you to obviously keep your hand weapon and to make your secondary a strife weapon, and all of your team should camp by the strife wallby. What you're going to need to do pretty much is just shoot a couple of shots from your strife, and then when the timer gets down to about 8 seconds, buy ammo for it, because it will only cost you 250 points. You and your team can fend off zombies nice and easily with those hands, and placing Pegasus strikes, which I would recommend you do build by this point, side note. And also, if you need to, you can pop nukes if necessary. Just make sure you're not letting that timer get below the 5-second mark, because if you do, it's becoming very risky. Just shoot a couple of shots from your strife, buy the ammo, go back to killing. Nice and easy. On to round 13, it's survive a catalyst onslaught. Basically, you're going to have a ton of catalyst zombies, just kill them with the blast shots on your hand weapons and you will be good. Nice and easy there. Then on to round 14 is to use unpacked assault rifles only, so you'll have no special weapon, no wraith fires. If players go down, you'll have to revive them normally, unfortunately, and you can't with the staff. Note that normally you should be reviving them with the blast of the staff to be able to actually allow them to keep their perks, which obviously you want to set up and buy your perks along the way. But I wouldn't recommend you commit to particular weapons because we swap them out a fair amount here. What makes this round tricky is that it's also a Blight Father round, so when that guy spawns, you and your team are going to need to focus in on him. You could actually pop one of your Newt Gobblegums, or Elixir, if you would prefer to make it easier on you and your team. I'd recommend actually heading up by the amphitheatre and buying the KN, and your whole team kind of banding together against him. This actually works out nicely because round 15 is to defend the amphitheatre, so again, you and your team should be using your hand weapons, taking advantage of them to make this round nice and easy on yourself. Use obviously the Pegasus Strike is helpful. Obviously whoever picked up the Pegasus Strike, it's hopefully the person who is running the equipment elixir, which means that you can actually pop that to get one back, so you can in fact actually have two of them if in fact is needed. Round 16 sounds a little bit tricky, but it's not as bad as it sounds. Every player must earn an epic tribute reward. Current tribute level is reset, so basically you can't work on this as you go along, just have to start at the start of this round. This will be an extended round and it will be nice and long, and you'll have plenty of time to get to work on this, so just go and buy a challenge from the Oracle inside the spawn and just work through them as you go along. We got terrible luck in terms of challenges, and yet this was still fairly easily and we weren't tight for zombies at all, so don't worry about this one, it isn't actually as bad as it sounds. Wave 17 is to defeat a wave of Spartoi, no headshot kills allowed. So basically if you kill one of these Spartois with a headshot, you're going to get a strike. So you're just going to have to kill them by shooting them to the body. However, that obviously doesn't work with these Spartois, because they actually only die if you shoot them in the head. So the way to do this is going to be meleeing with the hands, shooting with the hands as an alternate option, throwing wraith fires, Pegasus strikes, anything like that will be a good way to kill these things. You won't have to kill too many, it's only 25 kills in our 4-player game, so you don't really need to worry about it since it is a fixed amount. Make sure as well that from the previous round, you do in fact redeem that epic reward, since it can give you some good stuff. You can give a Pegasus strike to a player who doesn't yet have one, which can be very nice. You can give pack punch weapons, all sorts of good stuff. On round 18, only weapons from Temple of Apollo can be used. All purchases except fast travel are disabled. This is where we were a bit confused, because we thought that meant, one of the warbys in there, the Strife. However, you'll find if you go into the Temple of Apollo at the start of this round, there'll be a bunch of weapons sat on the floor. You'll need to pick one up, and that'll be the only thing you can use. More of these will spawn throughout the round if you need to pick one up, but you won't actually be able to buy anything in terms of ammo, perks, anything like that. You'll just be able to buy fast travels if you ever need to at any point. But you're just going to need to use these weapons. Generally they'll be decent enough. We got a lot of DLC weapons actually in fact on this one, and as you see in the video if you're watching closely, my entire team pretty much, beside from DK, has actually died out because we didn't actually know what was coming for this one. Obviously you can't revive with the staff on this one, but that's why we have quick revive to revive if we can. Round 19, go prone to stop random damage. You'll take random sparks of 10 damage at a time. You'll just start taking damage unless you go prone, which will actually stop you from taking it. So you and your team, again, I'd recommend you camp together, maybe on the Temple of Apollo, somewhere generally fairly safe. Use Pegasus strikes, hands, any of that kind of stuff. Then going on to round 20, you need to defend the center of the world. This is the pack punch area, so again, you and your team go down to the pack punch area and just kill off the round. Nice and easy. The hand weapons in this, when you're upgrading them, are very good in fact, so you don't really need to worry about too much about this one. So Kraton, congratulations, at this point you have in fact completed the silver set of challenges, and we are on now to the tricky bit, being the gold challenges. But don't worry, I'm going to give you guys the perfect strategy to get this done nice and easily. So at this point, congratulations, you've made it to the gold tier and you are going on to your final set of challenges. These are obviously by far the most challenging, these will be the longest rounds, and these are generally going to be the hardest bit to survive, but if you get through this, you will get that completion, get that calling card, get that sticker if you're flawless, and all in all, you'll be done with this gauntlet. So starting off around 21, this is players are randomly blinded. This isn't actually as bad as it sounds whatsoever, just basically sporadically and kind of randomly. Players on your team will kind of see a flashbang effect pop up on your screen. It will only last about a second. It will be very brief and it doesn't really affect how you play at all. Just take advantage of your hand weapons as normal to make it through this round, but I always make sure that you do hold one at the end of this round, because for the next round you're going to be taking damage if you have over 5,000 points. So at the end of round 21, make sure you're spending all your points. This is the best point to get set up, so make sure you have your hand weapon obviously. Make sure for your secondary, I'd recommend each player buy a different kind of gun. I'd recommend maybe someone gets an ICR, someone a Vapor, someone a KN, maybe someone a Spitfire, because you want to be spread out across the map in terms of your weapons. Make sure you just get it fully pack punched up till you're happy with it, get some perks, and generally at that point you should be under 5k. So when it comes going on to the next round, if you cross over 5,000 points, you will start to take damage. So just make sure that this is why you want to spread out, because you and your team can then be killing in a bunch of different locations. And if you start to get over the 5,000 mark, then just immediately go and buy pack punched ammo for this weapon, and then that will simply kind of resolve that issue for you, since obviously that's really expensive. Once that round is done, you are going to be heading on to round 23. This is where you simply have to survive the round. The way this will work is each of the players will be teleported into a different ritual area. So one person will have Blight Fathers, one person could have Genganese, one person could have just Catalysts, and one person Skeletons. You'll simply have to survive for an amount of time and just kill everything off. This can be challenging depending on where you actually get positioned into, but all in all it will be okay if you take advantage of the special weapon, any kind of scepters, anything like that, just anything you've got to survive this round, hence the title of it. Going on to round 24, you'll have to kill all zombies within the time limit. Zombies will run away from players. Now this sounds really tough. You'll have 10 minutes to complete this round, and the zombies for that time, you're basically in God mode because the zombies won't run at you at all. I'd recommend you do use nukes throughout this round as you kind of get big amounts massed up. I'd suggest that all 4 players go into the dark area of the map, because that way if one person goes down, say near Pack-a-Punch, one person at the top, one person near the blue flame, and one person around the Python Pass area, even if the zombies are running away from you, they'll still be kind of floating about another one of the players. I'd say that's the best way to do it, since the overworld area is in fact much bigger. So just pop nukes as and when is needed. I actually ended this round with plenty of time to spare, so I wouldn't worry about this in the slightest. You just need to, well, kill off all the zombies as normal, except you're basically in God mode. On to round 25, defend the Stoa of the Athenians. This is a pretty bog standard defend round, to be honest. This is the area in fact where you can pick up the golden bridle. It's the second area and it's the one down by the fountain. All in all, very simple defense. Take advantage of all your stuff, all the bog standard stuff. Just finish the round. On to round 26, weapon fire will drain points. This only applies to actual weapon fire, so this won't apply to your equipment or anything like that. So pretty much you're going to want to avoid shooting as much as possible. You're simply going to want to go through the round mainly focusing on your equipment, maybe melees on your special weapon, anything along those lines, and maybe shooting your hand here and there. And towards the end of the round, you're going to want to replace your special weapon. Everyone in the team will want to replace your secondary weapon with the Titan, which can be bought on Python's Pass. Specifically the Titan, because next round is going to be unpacked LMGs, so do not pack-a-punch this. The reason I say the Titan is because it's the only one that's a war buy, and you don't want to be having the ammo issues that go with having a box weapon here. This won't be an awfully powerful weapon, I'm not going to lie, so towards the end of the round, buy this, and then finish off the round with your hand as usual. In more player games, this is going to be a long ass round, this next one here, so get locked in and get ready. I wouldn't recommend using your nukes too much, because we didn't find it was helping us at all actually whatsoever, so I would just recommend you simply just persevere through it. You obviously can't pack punch it, so it's going to be a very slow process to kill off all these zombies, but just grind through it and eventually you will reach the end of the round. Obviously you can't pop special weapons or anything like that to get you out of any deadly situations, which is why Winter's Wail helps a lot within this particular gauntlet, since it can save you and give you a chance to kill off those zombies by freezing them. Once you eventually manage to finish this round, you will be going on to round 28, which is to kill zombies with 10 different weapons or equipment. This sounds bad, but I promise it won't be. Firstly, you're going to want to kill a zombie with that Titan. Then you're going to want to kill a zombie with your hand. Then you can have your equipment, your special weapon, and a shield kill. That's 5 there. At this point, you can then swap out the Titan and get kills with 4 different war weapons. Very simple, don't bother pack punching them since you only need the 1 kill, just grind through it. If you get a fire sale, just get a box weapon. Any weapon you can generally scavenge and it will be counting towards this. The weapon you then get for that final weapon kill, I'd recommend you make the weapon that you want to end off this game with. I would recommend you make this the Spitfire because round 30 we will actually be heading into the map's boss fight and it's very good for that. So simply buy, in fact, that Spitfire as your secondary weapon and just get it as packed up as you can, since there won't be an opportunity after this. At the end of this round, you want to be making sure you're fully set up and done with everything. You need to make sure you have your perks, you need to make sure you have a shield, all that stuff, because then going on to round 29, we're heading into Easter egg step kind of related stuff, where you will be doing the hit your mark step up at the amphitheatre. Every player will need to have a redeemed hand and they'll need to head up to the amphitheatre and complete the hit your mark step as usual. If you fail this step even once, you will get a strike, unfortunately. Very rough, but it's the way it is. I would assume that those going for these gauntlets tend to be those who are more familiar with Easter eggs, but if you're not, I will link a guide down below on how to do this step to make sure you are nice and familiar with it. That goes for any Easter egg related stuff that does pop up throughout this gauntlet. So you will go through all 3 stages, all 3 phases of this. I would recommend, if you're not 4-player, then nobody takes Gaia because it's the hardest one. The most important ones you generally want to have is Aranos is the easiest, then probably Charon, then maybe Hemera, and then Gaia. All round, they're the ones you want to be focusing on having here. Going on to round 30, this will be our final round, and it is to defeat Perseus. This is basically going to be, you're going to do the whole boss fight. So you're immediately, once you end that round, going to be teleported in, and you're simply going to have to firstly down the Pegasus as normal, using your hand weapon, just shooting at him, and then when he's down, you're going to go over to his island and staff melee him as you normally would. Keep doing that, and eventually he'll destroy an island. Keep doing it a bit longer and he'll destroy another island, and at that point you will know this phase is complete because the Pegasus will be killed. At this point you're on to the final Perseus fight, which is the big guy. This is the tough guy. Well, I say that, but he really isn't so tough. He'll basically do a lightning strike to let you know that he's coming down. Note that there is bolts of fire about the place that you can use to recharge your special weapon, which is critical in this fight, since you're going to want to use the fast melee ability to harm that Pegasus when he's down. And then when Perseus eventually comes down, you're going to want to just be spamming the fast melee with those 2 triggers, spamming back to back to get him killed as easy as possible. If you want a full boss fight strategy, I will link mine down below to give you guys the simplest way to beat this as is humanly possible. Once Perseus dies, you'll be able to pick up the key, and congratulations, at that point you have completed the gauntlet. I know it's been quite the endurance test, but you are done, you have completed this. I hope you guys have enjoyed this guide and it's helped you out. A lot of work has gone into making this as good as it can. So if you have enjoyed it and it's helped you out, make sure to like, comment and subscribe to show your support. And yeah, I'll see you on more Black Ops 4 Zombies videos. Bye!